Hi, good morning, everyone. Hope you all are doing good today. I'm Nikki Kothapalli, and I'm the founder and executive director of ApplyIT based in Houston, Texas. And today I want to address the culture we have around the algorithm said so when convenience becomes costly. So I watched my little cousin, she's a third grader. She typed a question to ChatGPT for a science project. She asked, "Why do volcanoes erupt?" And instantly the screen filled with a neat, well-written paragraph. She read it, copied it into a report, and turned it in. No checking sources, no questioning, and no thinking. A few weeks later, my parents were sitting at the kitchen table, worried about a cough and a sore throat, typing symptoms into an AI medical assistant. Within seconds, they were scrolling through a list of possibilities, some trivial, some serious, and making decisions based on what a machine said. And in those moments, I realized that something fundamental has changed in our society. We're increasingly deferring to AI. It sounds harmless, efficient even, and we hear versions of it everywhere. A recommendation, a risk score, a ranking, a flag. And most of the time, we accept it without a second thought, not because we're convinced, but because it's convenient. Convenience is the real reason AI has spread so quickly into our lives. It saves time, it reduces friction, and it gives us an answer without forcing us to sit with uncertainty. And slowly, almost without noticing, we begin to trust the output more than our own judgment. And that is how the cold begins. It's like cold decisions in my job for people who are not happy. A few years ago, across the United States, AI systems decide which patient should on paper make sense. The system predicts your health is from looking at past or money spent. You're likely to and seemingly objective. But when researchers looked closer, they found that Black patients were being underestimated by more than 50%, not because they were healthier, but because they had historically received less care. The algorithm didn't ask why the data looked the way it did, it just learned the pattern and moved on. When doctors followed this recommendation, they weren't acting out of a personal bias. They were deferring to the system that was given to them. After all, the algorithm said so. And this is what our relationship with AI increasingly looks like over time. We aren't handing over decisions because we believe that machines are wiser than humans. We do it because it's just easier for us, because responsibility feels lighter when it's shared with this system. If something goes wrong, there's always somewhere to point and someone to blame. And that's where the real danger begins. When a human makes a bad decision, you can question them. You can ask for an explanation, appeal the outcome, or demand accountability. When a system makes that decision, especially one wrapped in technical language and statistics, accountability becomes very blurry. Engineers can point to the data, institutions can point to the model, and the person affected is left with a number and no explanation. For people with power, that inconvenience can often be overcome, but for marginalized communities, it can be final. We see this across hiring systems, lending algorithms, content moderation tools, and surveillance technologies. Research from MIT and Stanford has shown that facial recognition systems are significantly less accurate for women with darker skin tones than for white men. In some cases, the error rates are dozens of times higher, yet these systems are still deployed because they're fast, scalable, and cheaper than human review. When the system flags someone incorrectly, it's tempting to treat that error as a technical glitch. But for the person on the receiving end, the consequences are very real. Being denied an opportunity, being misidentified, being filtered out without explanation. Once again, the algorithm said so. What's happening isn't that the AI is becoming too intelligent, it's that we're becoming too comfortable stepping back. AI changes power long before it changes its own intelligence, and before machines feel smart, they start to shape who gets access, who gets scrutiny, and who gets ignored. And because these systems speak in probabilities and confidence scores, we trust them even when we don't fully understand them. A big part of the problem is honestly our obsession with optimization. AI is incredibly good at optimization and maximizing metrics, but metrics are poor stand-ins for our own human values. Accuracy is not going to guarantee fairness. Efficiency is not going to guarantee justice. When we optimize the wrong objective, we don't get a slightly flawed outcome. We get a system that works perfectly towards something we never even meant to prioritize. And the cost of that convenience isn't even shared equally. Marginalized communities are often underrepresented in training data, overrepresented in monitoring and enforcement, and least able to challenge these automated decisions. When humans step back, systems don't become neutral. They inherit existing inequalities and scale them quietly. So the biggest risk of AI isn't that it's going to replace our human judgment, it's that we're going to stop exercising it. We're going to let convenience override curiosity in the future, and we accept outputs without asking how they were produced or who they might leave out. We allow the algorithm said so to become the end of this conversation. Now, accountability isn't a philosophical concept right now, right? It's practical. It shapes whose opportunities grow and whose futures are constrained. Imagine a lending algorithm that automatically denies credit applications based on historical repayment patterns. On paper, it's going to look like numbers, but for a young entrepreneur in a marginalized community, that denial can mean the difference between starting a business or never having the chance at all. And if no one is actively questioning this model, right, that opportunity is just silently erased. That's the real power AI holds and the real responsibility that we as a society must take. So when we're designing accountable AI, it doesn't mean we have to slow down this innovation, right? It doesn't mean we're going to halt the experimentation that we have. It means we're going to be building mechanisms that can make these mistakes visible with every step of the way. And we want to make sure that voices are heard and assumptions are challenged. We want to create systems that can explain themselves and not just assert. For example, models that indicate when their predictions are uncertain, or dashboards that can highlight groups that they're missing data from, that would help us so much, right? And simple shifts like this would transform AI from this invisible arbiter into a tool that humans can collaborate with thoughtfully. So AI here is a tool for us, and we want to be working side by side so that we can optimize things, we can make things better, and we can serve our people. So the other side of this, right, is inclusion. Accountability is incomplete if the people most affected by decisions aren't a part of this process. So marginalized communities, as I mentioned earlier, are historically excluded from the design table, and they must have a voice in shaping AI that touches their lives. They don't want advocates like us for them. They want participation. They want to sit at the table. And when we're able to embed their perspectives, AI is going to be more than efficient. It's going to be fairer, more resilient, and genuinely capable of serving society. So as someone greatly interested in AI for humanity, the future of AI is not going to be written by machines. It will be written by us, by the choices we make, the questions we ask, and the attention we give to consequences that are otherwise easy to ignore. The algorithm doesn't inherently know what's right because we're the ones that are giving it to them. It only reflects the priorities and blind spots of the people guiding it. If we want technology to amplify this human potential instead of reproducing human inequities, we cannot outsource responsibility, and we cannot stop asking questions. Because once we do, the algorithm isn't just going to make decisions for us, it decides whose voices are heard and whose are left behind. And that choice is going to define the world that we all live in. Thank you, and I'll be taking questions now.
Yeah, thank you, Nikki. I think that was a great talk. I know there were some technical difficulties, but it was for the best because you managed to convey that talk. And I'm going to be looking at the chat for some questions. Kaveen, can you take the questions?
Yeah, I don't see any questions, but I think they'll be coming in shortly. I'll just wait a few minutes.
Okay, I know I did end a little earlier than expected, but I think it's best to recover that time with the technical difficulties. So thank you again for understanding, and I'm so sorry, everyone.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, I do see a question from Ethan Hatif. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Can you tell us a bit about ApplyIT Inc.?
Oh, sure. So I am the founder and executive director of ApplyIT Inc. And essentially, we try to combat the digital divide in our community. In the very diverse community of Houston, Texas, which is where I'm based, we are the fourth most diverse city in the whole country. So that means we have a lot of immigrant businesses and honestly very unique businesses. So what happens when these businesses don't have the resources to advocate for themselves and bridge the digital divide? We want to bring it to them. So the name ApplyIT or ApplyIT essentially comes from students being able to apply their computer science, media, and business skills to our own community, and we're able to build websites and podcasts for them. Essentially, we have an outreach of 10.4 thousand people in Houston, which is very nice. And it's great that we're able to advocate for these small businesses and help them get a leg up, especially with big box stores and corporations taking over local businesses in many communities. That also comes with the gentrification of our society. And yeah, if you want to check us out, we actually do have a website. I think all you have to do is search us up. We were recently named a United Nations accredited organization. So yeah, it's really cool because we get to go to different forums. If you'd like to get involved, you can get involved if you're not in Houston still. Just send us an email and we're able to put you on a team. But yeah, thank you for your interest.
We have a follow-up, I guess, also
Yeah.
from Ethan. What are ways to enhance businesses specifically? Anything specifically your processes in terms of improving or working with businesses or companies?
That's a great question. So essentially when you're working, when you think about like, being in the business owner's shoes, you want to try to expand your customer base as much as possible without losing your own quality. So for example, if you have a small base or just a base that is stagnant, so you don't have any new people coming in or going out, you're not going to see a lot of growth in your business. So what you want to do is you want to try to get online. Social media is honestly a great way to be out there. And the thing is, when you're working with, for example, immigrant-owned businesses or people that are like very traditional in that sense, we're trying to work with people who are trying to expand, but at the same time aren't sure how to use the resources they have to expand. So a lot of that comes with being in a very technical age, digital development, and in terms of improving businesses. Okay, my process. I think we are very digital based since we're trying to use like SEO optimization, building websites and coding them. Our whole purpose is kind of like using computer science for social good. And to enhance business specifically, I'd say digital outreach is such a huge part of today's time. Yeah, thank you for your follow-up.
Okay. Are there any other questions from anyone in the chat?
Yeah, we can post your LinkedIn in the chat if anyone wants to connect and actually ask questions to you in person as well.
That.
Oh yeah, thank you for that.
Okay, I'll put this. Okay, we've put your LinkedIn in the chat. I think it is a bit early, but I think that was still great. And we were able to get through the technical difficulties. Thank you so much for this talk. And it was very insightful.
Great. Thank you for having me, Kevin and Arnav. You guys were amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. There is always an opportunity to contribute to the discussions that we have at EnviroCast Geo. If you are interested in attending or even speaking at a future conference, learn more at geo.envirocast.org. We're excited to hear your insights.